The scent of medicine mingles with the soft aroma of fresh bread. The light streaming through the window gently touches the face of a nameless girl, lying silently in an adapted bed. She does not speak, cannot see, and cannot hear. Yet she is alive, and more than that, she is loved. Beside her, Mohammed Bazik holds her hand. He speaks to her as if she could answer, and in a way she does. Her breathing steadies, her face relaxes. It's not a miracle, it's love. Mohammed is not a doctor, not a nurse, not family. He's something rare, almost extinct, a stranger who chose to love until the end. For more than 25 years, he's opened his home to children with terminal illnesses, children the system refuses, families reject, hospitals discharge when medicine has given up. There are no spotlights in his life, diaper changes, tube feedings, gentle baths, oxygen adjustments in the silent early hours. All happen away from cameras. Only those who live it know the weight and the miracle of those small acts. Mohammed carries that weight every day. And yet, when asked if it's too much, he answers with tear-filled eyes, "They deserve someone with them. No one should die alone." His home in Los Angeles isn't large, but it has enough room for dignity. Every room holds a story and a gentle ghost of a child who has passed. He remembers each name, tells how they laughed, how they slept on his chest, how some spoke a single word before they left, "Daddy." Once, a social worker hesitated before offering him a terminally ill girl. "She only has a few weeks to live," she said. He replied, "If she only has weeks, then let them be weeks filled with warmth, with a lap, with someone calling her by name." And he did. She died in his arms, clean, warm, her head resting on his chest. Mohammed lost his wife in 2015. She was his partner in this unlikely mission. The pain was immense, but he did not stop. He continued alone. With each funeral he arranged, his faith sustained him. "Everything I am, I owe to God. I'm here to serve." And he does through spooning food into mouths that cannot chew, whispering songs for those who cannot hear, shedding silent tears that cleanse the souls of onlookers. He once battled cancer himself, hospitalized and weak, with a tube in his throat. But his greatest anguish wasn't facing death, it was not being there for his adopted daughter, who needed him more than anything. As soon as he recovered, he returned home to the routine of diapers, tubes, medicine, and prayers. It's hard to explain why someone would choose this life. There is no financial reward, no relief, no cure. Mohammed doesn't aim to heal. He aims to comfort. He doesn't want to save lives, he wants to honor them, even if not long-lived, even if they never spoke a word. People often distance themselves from death. Mohammed walks toward it with open arms. To him, each child is a miracle in themselves, even one wrapped in pain, silence, and cruel prognoses. He believes there is beauty even in the end, if the end is treated with love. Some neighbors don't understand, others are moved, but all know there is something sacred inside that house. Where there is crying, there is also hope. Where there is suffering, there is compassion. And where there is departure, there is presence, his, faithful, tireless, loving. In an interview, asked what keeps him going, he said, "I know they won't survive, but I can't change that. What I can change is how they live while they're here." No sentence describes his mission better. An ordinary home may have toys, a television, and laughter. Mohammed's home has all that, plus tubes, oxygen, and wheelchairs. But what truly sets his house apart is what cannot be seen, the constant presence of a love that demands nothing in return. He is not a saint. He cries, he gets tired, he feels pain. But day after day, he chooses to be the shoulder, voice, and affection that so many children never had. His heart has already buried dozens of small loves, yet it remains open for the next ones. While the world chases fame, comfort, and distraction, Muhammad offers what few are willing to give: time, presence, and compassion to those the world prefers to forget. Because for him, even the shortest life deserves a long farewell full of hugs, tears, and the whispered words, "You were loved, deeply loved." And in the end, perhaps that's what we all need most: not to live forever, but to know that even in our final days, someone truly cared. Before sunrise in Los Angeles, Mohammed Bzik is already awake. He starts the day with a silent prayer and calloused hands that have learned to care for life with the reverence others give to relics. No alarm clock wakes him, it is his conscience, faithful as a calling, that lifts him. Because in the next room, a little girl depends on his existence to keep breathing. He lives with pain, but he doesn't display it. The pain lies in knowing the child he feeds by tube may not still be here next month, in learning names that become gravestones before their first birthday, in the solitude of sleepless nights, monitoring heartbeats, clearing airways, changing diapers, and above all, in the constant reminder that they will all leave. Yet he stays. There's a kind of courage that never makes headlines, never takes a stage, never wins medals. Muhammad's courage is that quiet yet steadfast. Each new child who enters his home brings sorrow, and still he opens his arms. No emotional shield. He immerses, attaches, says goodbye. He suffers, then starts over. Sometimes someone asks if he doesn't get tired. He smiles, not sarcastic, only with a kindness no weariness can erase. "Of course I get tired," he says, "but it's not the child who asks me for strength, it's God, and I respond with what I have." Muhammad is Muslim, and his faith is his foundation. But what he practices isn't just religion, it is humanity in its purest form. Muhammad has a biological son and an adopted daughter with disabilities. But he has been a father to dozens of children who called him that without knowing how to speak. He is the father of difficult hours, the comforting lap, the one who administers morphine, who holds the hand until it goes cold. Many parents couldn't bear even to see it. Muhammad not only sees it, he endures. There are funerals on record attended only by him. Him, a tiny coffin, and the open sky. No family, no relatives, no known names. Just him saying, "You mattered, you were loved." In those moments, there's no audience, but there is grandeur. The greatest humanity can reach. The children in his care usually arrive with an expiration date. He knows it, and yet he remembers their names, celebrates every small improvement as a miracle. A blinking eye, an involuntary movement, a spontaneous smile, because everything is precious near the end. He refuses to see them as lost causes, refuses to treat them as refuse from the system. Each one is unique. Each one deserves the best. And the best to him is not just physical comfort, it is presence. Someone who touches gently, who sings a lullaby, who tells a story even if the child cannot understand. Because there, more than understanding, one needs to feel. Muhammad does not do this for money. He receives a small state subsidy to cover medical expenses. But the price he pays, physically, emotionally, spiritually, is incalculable. Still, he does not stop. And when asked why, he answers, "Because if I don't do it, who will?" The answer reveals the gap between what institutions can offer and what the human heart can give. Muhammad lives in that space. He fills that void. He has become a home for those who lost all others, and that mission, though silent, resonates in the hearts of those who hear it. He rarely appears in the media. When he does, he seems uncomfortable. He does not like to be called a hero, but he is a hero without a cape, needing no headlines, a hero who wears medical gloves, holds medicine bottles, and sings so death will not come in silence. His pain is daily, but it transforms into something greater, into consolation, dignity, respect for life. He lives with finitude, yet he has not hardened. Instead, he has become more sensitive, more willing, more present. There is solitude that follows him, the solitude of one who does what is right when no one is watching, of one who chooses the hardest path because it is the most necessary. Yet there is strength there, the quiet strength of someone who knows he is doing what must be done, even if it hurts. Maybe the world will never fully grasp the magnitude of what Muhammad does. But each child who passed through his arms understood. Each one, in their fragility with their brief time, had the certainty, even if only for a moment, that they were loved, truly. And that, perhaps, is the highest sort of heroism. At the entrance of the adoption system, there is a silent screening. Beautiful, healthy children with a chance of recovery have long lines of interested parents. But those who arrive with terminal prognoses, tubes in their bodies, death sentences in their charts, they almost always meet silence. They are the ones the world ignores, the ones no one wants. But they are precisely the ones Muhammad Bazik chose to love. He didn't have to. He could have stepped back. He could have said, "It's not my problem." But something inside him, perhaps faith, perhaps humanity in its purest form, wouldn't let him turn away. He looked at the pain and said, "I'll stay." And he stayed. While everyone else pulled back, he moved forward. Because he knew there was something more cruel than death, dying without love. The kind of love Muhammad offers is different. It does not come with expectations of return. He doesn't hope to see the child grow up, graduate, have children. He doesn't love to build a future. He loves to dignify a present that is already fading, and that is as rare as it is necessary. When a child arrives at his home, many come with histories of abandonment. Some never even had a name chosen for them with love. Muhammad not only gives them a home, he gives them identity. He gives them a lap. He gives them worth. He gives them presence. No matter if for weeks or months, he understands that time doesn't measure love. Commitment does. Some children cannot reciprocate, cannot smile or hold his hand back, yet he holds theirs, still sings, still rocks as if they were his own, because to him they are. Being a parent isn't biology, it's care, it's permanence. It's saying, "I'm here," even when everything around shouts, "It's no longer worth it." Once, a baby with severe encephalopathy was left at a hospital with no one to take him home. The social worker called Muhammad. She hesitated. He didn't. "Come get him," he said. He prepared a room, sterilized equipment, warmed blankets. The baby died 2 weeks later. But he died in the arms of someone who called him my son. That alone changes everything. There is a kind of love that doesn't appear in novels, that doesn't become a song, but it transforms the world quietly, inside humble homes, away from spotlighted venues. It's the love that cleans wounds, changes diapers, holds the fevered head, and kisses a sweating forehead, knowing it might be the last kiss. This love, Muhammad knows well. Many ask if he doesn't suffer too much. And yes, he does. Each loss is a stab to the soul, but he doesn't avoid suffering. He plunges into it. Because to Muhammad, it's better to suffer from having loved than to live in peace by having ignored. He chooses to feel, chooses not to shield himself, because someone must be there. And he decided that someone would be him. There are no guarantees in what he does. At times, he is met with pitying looks, at others with misunderstanding. But occasionally, he receives the gaze of a child, even if only for seconds, that silently says, "Thank you for not leaving me alone." That look pays for everything. Muhammad is not against science, but he knows there are moments when medicine cannot reach. That's when love enters. Love that cradles, that sings, that prays, that waits. Love that doesn't give up even when it knows it cannot win. Love that cares until the very last breath. Love that doesn't want to save, but simply to be present. He speaks little of himself, doesn't seek recognition. What he wants is simple, for no one to die without having known affection. That each child, however brief their time on earth, had at least one person who looked into their eyes and said, "You matter." And that at heart is what we all wish. To know that we mattered, that our existence made a difference. Muhammad ensures that for every life that passes through his home, he gives what almost no one else is willing to give: love without reward. No headline can capture what happens within those four walls, but who has witnessed it never forgets, because there, in a quiet home in Los Angeles, lives living proof that even the shortest lives deserve a journey full of meaning. Muhammad didn't choose to save the world. He chose to save moments, and by doing so, he showed the world that the deepest form of love isn't the one that prolongs life, but the one that makes it worthwhile, even if only brief. Because in the end, when everything fades, it won't be the length of days that measures the value of a life. It will be the love it received. And Mohammad Bouazizi made sure that for dozens of forgotten children, that love existed, true, unconditional, unforgettable. In a city as vast and fast-paced as Los Angeles, where lights shine brighter than human bonds, Mohammad Bouazizi stands out. He doesn't dress like a celebrity, doesn't drive fancy cars, nor have millions of followers. Yet he did something few would dare. He redefined what it means to be a father. Mohammad was born in Libya, but chose to live in the United States. He came as a student, became an engineer, worked hard, and could have lived an ordinary life. But it was love, not chance, that shaped his path. When he met his wife Dawn, she was already involved in helping neglected children. Together, they found purpose in a mission most would consider too heavy: adopting and caring for terminally ill children, children of no one, children of silence, children of pain. Being a father for Mohammad was never about DNA. It was always about presence. He wasn't just the father of his biological son, nor only of his adopted daughter with paralysis. He was the father of every fragile little being who crossed his threshold with no chance of life, no surname, no future, but with the desperate urgency to be loved, even if briefly. When Dawn died in 2015, many assumed he would end his mission. After all, the burden was immense. But Mohammad didn't back down. With tears in his eyes and a severely disabled daughter in his arms, he decided to continue. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. There, his fatherhood took its purest form, caring, even when his own heart was breaking. Nights are long for those who care for those without a tomorrow. Mohammad moves through them like a silent sentinel. He changes diapers at 3 a.m., adjusts oxygen with hands trained and tender, as if handling the world with care, responsibility, and reverence. He has buried children who never bore his name, has cried over losses society doesn't acknowledge. Because to many, a sick, abandoned child is not worth it. To Mohammad, each of those lives is precious. He says, "If I can be the only father this child will ever have, then I want to be the best possible, even if it's just for a week." Being a father, for him, means arranging a baby's funeral with the same care others put into birthday parties, paying for tiny coffins with his own savings, choosing clean clothes for a body that never walked, never spoke, walking alongside them to the grave, whispering with a breaking voice, "You were not alone." He has no superpowers. He has pains, physical limitations, his own health issues. But his strength comes from love that cannot be measured by time or reciprocation. From the certainty that someone must do what is right even if no one sees. And he does it. Mohammed's fatherhood is revolutionary because it shatters the myth that heredity is the only valid form of parenthood. He shows that being a father is above all an act of choice. And when that choice is made with truth, it transcends any biology. It transforms the unknown into child, the forsaken into loved, the invisible into eternal. Every wall in his home holds memories, drawings, photos, fragments of stories that were short but deeply meaningful. Each room holds echoes of voices perhaps never heard, but which, through his care, gained full existence. He doesn't seek praise. When someone calls him a hero or a saint, he lowers his eyes, embarrassed. "I am just a man," he says. But in today's world, where so many fathers abandon homes they helped create, being just a man who stays with children he didn't ask for, didn't birth, but chose to love, that may be the greatest title one can ever earn. Mohammed Bzik teaches us that being a father is more than being present at birth. It's being present at the end. It's upholding what many refuse to touch. It's facing death with an open heart, steady hands that hold until the end those no one else wanted to carry. And so, among diapers, tears, brief smiles, and painful goodbyes, Mohammed rewrites the meaning of fatherhood. A father is not only someone who gives life, but someone who holds life when it is about to fade. And in that silent, eternal gesture, he becomes the father of us all. Mohammed Bzik is living proof that true greatness does not lie in material achievements, but in the infinite capacity to love what the world has forgotten. In a universe often indifferent and hurried, he chose to be a refuge, a safe harbor for fragile lives that say goodbye too soon. His story is not only about caring for terminal children, it's about pouring soul, heart, and dignity into those who need it most, even when the end is inevitable. He teaches us that true love transcends blood, biology, and time. That being a father is about being there in the hardest moments, holding the hand of someone who cannot reciprocate, offering comfort where there is pain, hope where there is despair. Mohammed didn't just welcome lives. He transformed farewells into goodbyes, full of affection, respect, and humanity. In 2025, he remains steadfast, despite personal battles and the weight he bears. His courage is quiet, his strength unseen, but his impact eternal. Every child who passed through his hands carries a legacy of love that defies oblivion, loneliness, and sorrow. Mohammed Bzik's story is a beacon for all of us, a call to see others with greater empathy, to reach out even when the path seems impossible, and to recognize that what truly matters is to love without measure, until the last breath. This enlightened man reminds us that, in the end, our humanity isn't defined by years lived, but by the depth of love we leave behind, and that love, pure, unconditional, eternal, is what makes Mohammed Bzik a hero the world will never forget.